Hello, everybody. My name is Alon Holt, and welcome to Retrove Live. Today, we welcome to the show legendary actress and advocate Sheryl Lee Ralph, who hosts a 40-year career entertaining audiences on Broadway, television, and film, and whose work and advocacy around HIV AIDS has continued the important conversation around treatment, sexual health, and the ongoing work for a cure. We are so proud to welcome Sheryl Lee Ralph to celebrate Pride with us, Juneteenth, and the ongoing legacy of love that brings us all into community together. Please welcome to the show, Miss Sheryl Lee Ralph. I'm about to bring them in. One moment. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. We're waiting for Sheryl Lee Ralph, who's going to be joining us momentarily. Welcome, everybody. And as we're going through the conversation, please feel free to drop any comments or questions you have for us. We'd love to see the audience engaged. And as we welcome and bring in Sheryl Lee Ralph, we're excited to welcome everybody to the show. Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Hello. So we're waiting for Sheryl Lee Ralph to join us, and welcome everybody to Retrove Live. Thank you. I see you, Jennifer. I'm excited too. Welcome. Welcome, K.A. Dubin. Welcome, everybody. Okay, we're going to try to bring Miss Ralph in one more time. Let's see. Just send your request. Ah, there we are.
Oh, it's wonderful to be with you. I tell you, at moments like this, I'm so happy I have a smart daughter, because for whatever reason, my request wasn't being sent to you. And I said, Coco. She came in, she put it in her hand, and magically,
boom.
There we are.
It's so beautiful to be in your presence. It's such an honor.
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful to be here with you today.
Thank you so much. Let's begin. Just how are you feeling? Just a check-in on your body, your spirit. How are you feeling as we're in Pride Month and about to enter into Juneteenth? What's on your heart and spirit today?
I tell you, I remain in a state of gratefulness. I remain in a state of joy and happy. I wake up in the morning and I decide that that's what it's going to be. No matter what it is I'm challenged with, I decide that I'm going to come out on the other side better, better, better. That's my decision. So when you ask me how am I feeling today, I'm feeling like I feel every day. Grateful that I woke up in my right mind with the ability to conduct my day.
What a blessing for us today.
Thank you.
I feel like that is the message, especially as we're thinking about reopening, not even thinking, but moving towards reopening, and so much happened. So just the choice of being well and being connected. So thank you so much. Again, my name is Alon Holt. We are welcomed by the Miss Sheryl Lee Ralph, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things, in particular, your continuing work around HIV AIDS as we celebrate Pride Month, the connections between sexual health and racial justice, and also uplifting our partner, Project Angel Food, who has been doing this work for many, many decades. So we'll talk about them in a moment.
Great, great, great. You know, it was so interesting. I was thinking about the title of this show, you know, Every Skin Has a Story. And it made me, it was so interesting because it made me think. It made me think about living in my skin all of these years, you know, the fact that I love my skin, you know, that I have never been in a place where I wanted anything different about my skin. I wonder if my skin would be happy for all the years of Vaseline that my mother slathered over me, that when I grew older or grew up, I fell in love with cocoa butter. I wonder if what my skin would say to me for trying my best not to, attack it with too many chemicals or any chemicals, period, other than the ones that we find in, cosmetics and such. I wonder what stories my skin would tell.
Ah,
But I hope my
absolutely.
skin always knows that I am so thankful for the skin I'm in. I am so thankful for my melanin. Oh, Lord, I'm a poet and I didn't
Yes.
even know it. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and love is such a huge part of our work and movement for social justice. Could you even go deeper about the role that love has played in your activism and in your artistic work? And just can you root us can even more so in that idea and that
You know,
gesture towards love?
it's so interesting when you talk about love and the challenging work of fighting for justice, about
Mhm.
equaling inequalities. Those are very difficult things, and you would not do them. You do not do them if you don't love who you're doing them for. And the first one you've got to love is for yourself, because very often when you fight for others, you're truly fighting for yourself. And these are very difficult things because most times people don't want you fighting for them. They don't want you fighting for them because they don't know how to fight for themselves. They don't want you loving them because they don't know how to love themselves. And very
Mhm.
often when you love people unconditionally, they're the first person to turn around and say, I didn't ask you to love me. I didn't ask you for all of that. And so
Yeah.
you have to do these things because it is necessary, because it must be done, and it is very difficult. And the longer I'm living, the more I find out very few people are willing to do the work.
Oh my goodness. And that work is the work of loving unconditionally, no matter what the circumstances are. Like you said, we can't choose the circumstances, but we can choose our reactions to that circumstance. And
Absolutely.
so I hear that absolutely. And I want to uplift that this month, Retrove is donating 5% of all sales to Project Angel Food, which I'm excited to talk to you about.
Thank
Um,
you.
Project Angel Food is a nonprofit organization that was founded by Marianne Williamson, based in Los Angeles County, that provides free and healthy meals to people impacted by serious illnesses, including HIV and AIDS. And you are on their board of directors
Yes,
and
I'm
have
actually a
been.
trustee now.
Ah, could you
Yes.
tell us about the organization, about your work in the organization, and congratulations on being a trustee.
Well,
Such
thank
important work.
you. It's been 40 years of AIDS in America. And I always start with saying AIDS because 40 years ago, it didn't have a name. I remember when it was just called GRID, gay related immune deficiency. I remember that very well. I remember when it was just called gay men's cancer. And people didn't want to talk about this. They didn't want to do anything about this. And when it became obvious that it was a disease that was truly affecting gay men, people in America and around the world were all too eager to show the gay population how much they hated them, how
Mm-hmm.
much they didn't care about them, and how easy it was for people to turn their backs on their children as they were dying and needed help. And it was horrible. It was a horrible time. And I was very young, and here I was in the best time of my life, getting ready to debut on Broadway in
Mm-hmm.
Dreamgirls, which was the hottest show at the time. If you think that Hamilton was hot, oh my
Woo!
God, Dreamgirls was burning down the house. It was like that. Anybody who was anybody was coming to see this show. People were paying to stand in the back of the theater to see the show. It was an amazing time in my life. And that time was changed forever when my friends just started dropping dead. They were sick and they died. They were alive, they got sick and they died. And it was terrible as a young person to see how nobody wanted to acknowledge, hey, they were just here yesterday. They were just here yesterday, and people wanted to pass over their being, and I just couldn't do it. And that's literally how I got involved in the struggle, in the fight. And it was awful because people wanted to ask, oh my God, it's catching me in my throat because it's like I can hardly say it because it's like I'm remembering it. They wanted to ask, what's wrong with you? Why do you care about those people? Why do you spend time with those people? And in my little church girl head, it was like, you mean the sick people? You mean the dying people? You mean the people in need of food, care, comfort? Because, you know, a lot of times there were signs on beds that said, do not touch.
Yeah.
You know, and people would languish in gurneys out in hallways, just literally dying for help and touch and comfort. And I just couldn't let it be a norm, especially for the people that I knew. And, you know, taking those trips, you know, I remember going up to Harlem Hospital, and it was awful because, you know, at that time, they didn't want to talk about gay Black men. And they suffered so it was, oh my God, it was horrible. You know, I think about it now and I compare it to what it must be, what it must have been like, you know, 6-9 months ago when those hospitals were full with those COVID patients and people didn't know what to do. And they were running around like chickens with their heads cut off because they didn't know how it was, how you got this disease. And it was like that, you know, back then. And it was just a horrible time. Time passed. I came to LA, and one day I was traveling down Fairfax, and I saw all these people going in and out of this church. And I was like, what are these people doing? I'm a little church girl. So I went in to find out what's going on. And that was a kitchen in that church that became Project Angel Food.
Oh.
And that's how I got involved, you know. And then I created Divas Simply Singing, you know, which for me as a young girl, I said to myself, young woman, what can I do to draw attention to this, to all people, including women? Because I always felt before it was true that if sex could be a problem for men, women could not be far behind. Oh my God, the number of people that told me I was stupid and I was just exaggerating on this thing. And to me, it was just like a natural thing. I mean, there's a natural connection between men and women, no matter what your sexual preference is.
Absolutely.
It's just there. So if they had a problem, then we were going to have a problem. Okay, that's exactly what it turned out to be. But I created Divas so that we could get attention paid to everybody. Because if it was going to be a problem for women, then who was next? Children.
Mm-hmm.
That was obvious.
Yeah.
You know? So I remember trying to create this to raise funds, to raise awareness. And some 31 years later, we're still raising awareness because we have seen now that trusted messengers with trusted messages are very important.
Yeah.
So we continue to develop the messages that are needed because just the other day, and I'm going to say about 5 days ago, a young man said to me, Miss Ralph, I don't want to tell you this. And I said, okay, but I knew he was going to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
He said, my friend is dying. And I said, you know, I was sad that that's what he had to tell me. Pause. Of AIDS. I was like, wait a minute. You're trying to tell me that your friend is dying of AIDS? It's 2021. Mm-hmm. 2021. What message did he not get? What did he not believe? It's sort of like sometimes I look at HIV and AIDS now, and it's sort of like Corona, like COVID-19. We know it's real. We know 600,000 people and growing around the world have died of COVID, but there are still those people that want to act like it is not real, like it does not exist. They don't want to take the vaccine. They don't want to take the test. Just like back in the day, they didn't want to take the test For AIDS, they didn't want to take the test.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that condoms were a barrier against contracting the disease. They didn't want to wear condoms. They didn't want to talk about condoms, just like people now are out there burning their masks, talking about freedom from corona. They're still having COVID parties. I remember when they used to have AIDS parties. So if we could just all be together, if we could all just sleep together, then we're just going to all get it and we're going to die anyway. I see these same human patterns being copied now, and it breaks my heart. It breaks my human heart.
I thank you so much for just bringing us back to that place, but also deeply connecting us to the present day and to the present urgency. Because even today, HIV/AIDS is, as you mentioned, continues, very much continues, but our focus has shifted, and that is a matter of lives. And so just being able to bring us back to that focus, bring us back to what we know to be barriers to contracting the virus, all of these advocacy moments, I just thank you for that continued work. Because sometimes when the lens shifts, people die. And so we have to keep our focus, keep our love, keep our communication, like you said, having trustworthy messengers. The idea that most of our information comes from each other, you know?
Absolutely.
And so, you know. And so it is.
Absolutely.
And we often think of being an advocate or being an activist as some kind of grand, diplomatic vision of something that's bestowed on you. But really, it's something that we can step into no matter who we are. And we have to step into that because, again, it is a matter of our community. And so I just thank you for that so much.
Well, thank you. And, sometimes when I hear we have to, I realize more and more we do not have to, because there are a lot of people who do not choose to. There are a lot of people to which things happen had they just paid attention, had they listened to that small voice, had they loved themselves enough to take action for themselves, things would be different. People continue to act like if I ignore it, it won't bother me. I have a sign in my house that says you can ignore the queen, but she is still the queen.
Oh,
So it's like, don't ignore things. See them for what they are and take action, especially when it's for yourself. Because like the great drag queen says, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love anybody else? And there are a lot of people out there walking, not loving themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to take a moment and just say thank you to everybody who's joining us for this important conversation. We have the Diva Foundation in the house, your organization, Miss Ralph. We have so many champions, folks saying good morning, folks saying thank you, folks just giving so much love. So thank you, everybody, and continue to share that love in the chat. We'd love, 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 love to see it. And as you mentioned, there's so much in terms of advocacy, in terms of information that needs to get out there. If there were a couple of things that you could share with us that we need to know about HIV/AIDS in this moment, which I'm sure is continuous from previous moments, but what do we need to know in this moment about HIV/AIDS?
It doesn't have to happen. And it doesn't have to happen to those watching, those who hear me speaking. It doesn't have to happen. You can protect yourself. It is manageable. It's absolutely manageable. My friends used to die of poisonous medications. There's PrEP now. I call it the kind of like the birth control for your sex life. Now, it's not birth control, but you've got to take it like birth control.
Yeah, which is daily.
You've got to take it every day. You've got to take it the way it has been prescribed for you. And you must take care of yourself. And don't forget, don't skip a day. It's like, you don't want to become pregnant. You take your birth control medication. You don't want to contract HIV, you take your PrEP, you take your medication.
Mm-hmm.
That's available. You
Mm-hmm.
can live you can have a sexual footprint. Use condoms each time, every time. You
Mm-hmm.
live in safe sex until you're ready to either do something else in your life. But
Mm-hmm.
these are very simple things. You
Mm-hmm.
you could even try and, a lot of people make a party out of sex. You invite a lot of guests to the party.
Yes.
You know, you
Absolutely.
you are the party, and you invite a whole lot of people. But sometimes you step out and you invite people you don't know. They are absolute strangers. You know nothing about them. You do not know who they have slept with, and who they have slept with are the people they bring to your party. So you got all these party crashers. You need to know. You need to have some conversations with people, and
Very real ones.
very
Very
real
real ones.
questions. And a lot of times these are conversations that are so difficult. Like, do you sleep with men and women? Are you an intravenous drug user? Have you ever been an intravenous drug user? Do you use condoms at all? And then you have to stand up for yourself and say, because I use condoms.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of things are very hard, and these are lessons that can be learned, that should be taken in
Mm-hmm.
practice. But very often young people figure, oh, you just talking, that's not gonna happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've literally met too many young people to which it has happened to them. It doesn't have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to happen. You
And the
got
over.
options now, baby. You got options.
Mm-hmm. So let's run through those options one more time for folks who have just joined us. PrEP is the medication that you can take if you are HIV negative to prevent contracting the disease.
Say it
And it's
again.
something that you take. PrEP is a medication that you can take daily if you are HIV negative, and it prevents you from contracting the disease. It's really recommended for folks who are at high risk and are a part of the high risk community. So that's the queer, gay, lesbian community. That's the Black community, which you talk about so deeply. Would you want to talk about that for a second?
Well,
The overlap between race and HIV?
Well, one of the things I want to also say about PrEP is it's not just for men.
Thank you.
Women can take and use PrEP also. If especially, you talk about HIV now, black women in the South, trans women, straight women, these are just women. They are also being very affected and infected by HIV. PrEP is your friend. Take it and use it. When I wrote my one woman show,
Yes.
sometimes I cry. Real women's stories around HIV and AIDS. I wrote it 10 years ago because I saw the numbers flip and change. Women were becoming infected, and nobody was saying anything about white women or black women, but especially black women. Nobody was saying anything. So I took these stories and I was touring the country telling these stories. And now here we are in 2021, and I'm getting calls again from people saying, I need you to bring Sometimes I Cry back out on the road, because we need to hear these stories now, because women in the South are suffering.
Yeah.
And once again, it breaks my human heart. And I have to say, when I say women, I mean trans women and straight women, biologically born women. It doesn't have to happen. But sometimes when I think about why do these things happen to us, we battle so much. We battle so much. You know, I started out by saying that I love the skin I'm in. Some of us are battling people who do not love the skin we are in as much as we may love the skin we are in. And we become a target for terrible things, as we can see happening daily now. You know, today, on this very day that you and I are speaking, a young Black child, he wasn't even 15 years old, George Steiny, I think was his name. George Steiny was 14 years old, and America, and I blame the whole country, executed that boy knowing that these were false charges. And they just killed that boy. They burned his body up in an electric chair because, and he was falsely accused. Years past, now we know he was falsely accused. But see, we have to go through that sort of pain. We have to go through that sort of suffering. And then, you know, we're just realizing that the game has been rigged against us. That we're not making it because we're lazy. We're not making it because we're irresponsible. We're not making it because we're stupid. We are not making it because every time we make advances, the rug has been systematically pulled out from underneath our legs. And then they blame us, saying they just playing the race card. No, I'm not. I'm showing you what you have done. And now we know what you've done. And now we're going to tell these stories. And then you have certain states out there, they say, oh, no, you're not going to tell those truths because we're going to pass a law that you can't talk about those things.
Absolutely.
That's real. And then you got some states saying, you know what? We're going to stop them from voting. They're always trying to keep us from voting because they know that if we get the message and know how important we are to changing this system, changing what's going on in this country, we will vote.
Yes.
We will we will do the work to make the change. They know that. There are states right now, because of COVID, some states have billions of dollars left over. Billions of dollars left over. Do you think they will take that money to equal the inequities? No. You think they'll take 1 billion of the 3 billion that they have to fix up schools so that Black and brown children have an equal fighting chance? No. But they will talk to their friends and say, you know what, let's get into business and we're going to build some prisons because they're not going to get a good education. That's by design. So they're going to need to be put in prison, and we're going to profit off of their pain. Then we got to deal with poverty, because we have not been given a chance, an equal chance. And those of us who make it, God bless us. How the hell did you do that?
We needed this. You telling the truth up and down and sideways. We needed this. We needed this. I just thank you so much. I mean, I'm just like, even like looking at the chat, like we needed this truth. We needed this truth. And so I just think of too the words of June Jordan, the poet, who says, "We are the ones we've been waiting for."
We
like,
are, and it's like
it is all of us.
All of us. It's like Juneteenth is coming up. And I think about Juneteenth from the moment my dad told me what Juneteenth was. I think about what it was like to have been free, and nobody told you. You were free, but they made you work an extra 2-3 years on that plantation, and you were free. Freedom was yours, but nobody told you, so you didn't know. So that's why I think Juneteenth is important, and we better fight to make sure that people know and understand what Juneteenth is and what it means. Because those enslaved people in Texas, I think it was Galveston.
Yep, it was.
They didn't know. They didn't know. But we know now. We are the ones that we have been waiting for. We are the hope and the wildest dreams of generations before us.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw after George Floyd, how many young Black people who had white, brown, Asian, Hispanic, all kinds of people walking with them in this fight for civil rights, this fight against racism, in this fight against poverty, in this fight for us to be recognized as human beings, I said, all right, now is the Rubicon. This is the moment. If you want to say you woke, then stay awake. Stay awake and act in this moment right here, right now. And stop saying you don't know what to do. Do something. And one of the things you can do is take pride in yourself, in who you are. And you know, like Big Mama would say, clean up your own backyard.
Oh, yes.
Clean up.
Dig where you stand. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dig where you stand. And what you're saying too, I want to bring back in the legacy of Juneteenth, because it was like, that's why I love art so much, because it was the control of the communication channels, right? It wasn't just like the law. It was also the communication channel. And so when I think about your show, when I think about your work, when I think about the work of artists and creatives, it is busting through those communication channels and singing out loud and telling those stories in creative ways that reach the people. And so I just, so just want to bring it back to that, the revolutionary power of art as not a luxury, poetry is not a luxury, but as a vehicle for liberation. And so you have amplified that so deeply. And I just wanted to underscore that as we think about this, as we think about Juneteenth in this moment, think about the work of actresses, the work of artists and visionaries as activists, which is a huge and deep legacy. And also the work of reclaiming the communication channels, right? Of telling each other that we are free, that also that there are things that we need to watch out for, right? Like go to the river to the right? Follow the North Star. Like there are all of those channels. And so I'm saying and amplifying words that you've already said. And I just thank you so much for bringing that to this space and to this channel.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, sometimes my parents would always talk to me about legacy. And my mother would always tell me that she wants me to be better than she was. And my mother was pretty doggone good, from immigrant child from Jamaica, and now I look at my children and, after Ahmaud Arbery's killing, my son said, we need a healing. And he protested, he and his sister, my niece, the three of them, they're like a little pyramid all together. And they protested. And one day they ended up in a park. There's a park across from LA High, them and 25 of their friends. And they said, we have to breathe. We have to breathe. And I think about this a whole year later. That group of 25 has grown to about 200 and up young people who come together in that park every Sunday morning to breathe, to do their yoga moves, to inhale, to exhale. They finish, they pass a mic. Those who need to say something, those who have a concern can speak their truths. And I think about that and I say how wonderful that young people are seeking healing. They are realizing that they must heal from past traumas. They are realizing that they do not have to carry it into the future, that they can create a bigger world for themselves. And I think about that, and I'm so happy that my children will come out of this better because they're healing early. And I just love that. And they call it Walk Good. And you can follow them, Walk Good LA.
Walk Good.
Walk Good LA. It's, it's a euphemism in Jamaica. My mother would always say, walk good now and call me when you get there. meaning
Mm.
God protect you, be blessed, walk good in your comings and goings, and just let me know you're safe. You know,
Yeah.
so I wish that for everybody, that we get to walk good, breathe good, be good, and so that we can all become better.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we have Maya's posted Walk Good LA is the handle. So folks follow Walk Good LA.
Oh,
And thank you so much for amplifying that work.
thank
Um, ah, and there's something I just want to go through and say you're getting so much love. So I just want to make sure that your legacy of passing on, well done. Just
thank
giving love and uplifting your children in this work. Cheryl is the most beautiful woman on earth. I agree. Bless up. You know, if you have no confidence in self, you're twice defeated in the race of life, which is Marcus Garvey. So thank you so much, Terry, for bringing that into the conversation. Amazing advice. Dig where you stand. My friend explained to me, I'm going to cook something. I always remember what other Blacks have done for me. So
yeah.
thank you for that. Absolutely. We stand on the shoulders of giants. Absolutely. You're always teaching us every day. Stand up for our people. From Philly. God bless.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
We have to know how wonderful we are, because we can see now how often people want to tell us we're not, or
Mm-mm.
that we're not, and we are. We just need a little adjustment in the mind. You know, so, a psychologist friend of mine was saying there is post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Absolutely.
And do not negate or think small of that. That until we get healing, we are still carrying the pain of the shackles of the past. They
Mm-hmm.
may not be on our bodies right now, except when they're trying to take you away in the police car, but they are definitely on our mind. And we have
Uh-huh.
to, what does Bob Marley say? Free yourself from mental slavery. Yes, we
None
got
but
to free
ourselves can
ourselves.
free our minds.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
None but
Absolutely.
ourselves can free our minds.
Mm-hmm. And thinking too that slavery is not is it's not a location, it's a relationship. So it's not a date in the calendar. It is our ongoing relationship, as you said, to that those conditions that are still morphing and shifting and becoming part of and are part of the current landscape. So old day slavery, it was slavery as we know it. New day slavery is mass incarceration, it's redlining, it's all of these other manifestations of the same thing. And so it's
That's
not a
right.
destination, it's a relationship. And so that idea
Absolutely.
that why are we still talking about it? Because it's still present, just in
Because
different
first,
forms.
we talk about it now because it's important for people to know that you could be Black and in a wealthy neighborhood, and when they come to tell you how much your house is worth, your house may be bigger and better than the one next door to you, but if white people live in that house, they get a higher quote. Thank you. What does anything but your driving record have to do with how much you pay for insurance? Your zip code and your color should not be a price hike. These things
Mhm.
are real, people. It's real.
Mhm.
That's why we must continue to talk about them. You talk
Absolutely.
about redlining. Oh my God.
We
Who
could
gets
go into that all day.
representation? Oh,
That's a
please.
different
That's
live.
a whole nother thing.
Oh
Lord.
my goodness. Well, so in the spirit of Juneteenth and the spirit of pride, what does freedom feel like for you? When you dream about it, when you feel it, when you taste it, what is it for you?
Oh my God. I'm blessed. I'm fortunate. I know the slaves before me story. I know the free Black peoples before me story. Those in my family, those in my history. And partly, coming from an American father and an immigrant Jamaican mother, there was always that movement towards good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is better and your better best. There was never any option for me not to do well. There was never that option. As long as I was born, it was up to me and my responsibility to do for me and my family. I'll never forget my grandmother telling me, Sheryl Lee Ralph,
Mm,
remember. When you enter the room, the whole race comes with you.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, freedom has always been a suitcase that I carry because I know I'm free. I know I'm going to make it to the mountaintop. I know I'm going to see better. And I'm seeing it now in my children and a whole lot of other people's children. I'm seeing it. So I know good is gonna come. I have hope and I walk in faith. I know that I believe in what I cannot see. I know it's gonna get better because I'm gonna work towards that. And when I work, I don't work just for me. Like I said, they might not appreciate it, but I'm working for them. And as I move forward, a whole lot are coming right behind me. And I know I'm going to receive those gifts because I used to tell everybody, I said, you know what, I'm going to be real great in Moesha because all these kids, when they grow up, they're going to love me. And one of those kids grew up. She called me. She said, Miss Ralph, I've got a show and it's only for you. And it's just for you. She's young. I don't even know if she's 30 yet. But she has written and produced a TV show that has been picked up by ABC called Abbott Elementary. And we will get a mid-season replacement. And her name is Quinta Brunson. And I say, yes, baby girl. Your auntie thanks you. I thank you for the gift. I thank you for seeing my fight and understanding that I was fighting for you. And I thank you for the gift of you. Oh, yeah, honey. I'm like, thank you. When I look at my children in that park, upwards of 200 people every Sunday giving thanks and healing. I said, yes, children, thank you. Your mother thanks you. Do the good work, babies. Walk good. I love my husband. When my husband, Senator Vincent Hughes of Pennsylvania, first Black man to be the chair of appropriations, when I see that man fighting the good fight 27 hours a day for folks who will never know what he has done for them and how he has done it. I say, thank you, God, for the union and giving me a good man who can fight the fight. Ha ha! Oh my God, don't let me get up here and start doing my dance. Thank you.
I feel it.
My freedom is in my suitcase and I'm carrying it with me. My pride in my skin, my black skin, dark girl that I am, my nose, my lips, my skin. Black don't crack, thank God. Hey, hallelujah. I always tell people, please come close. Please zoom in. Yeah, take a good look. Thank you. You know, I am so thankful. Thank you. And I'm wearing my freedom because sometimes I have to open up that suitcase, shake it out, dress myself up in my freedom and say, freedom. That's right. I'm not waiting for it to come. I got it. I have freed myself.
My people are free. Absolutely. There's so many things that I want to uplift as we leave. And just want to say yes to Abbott Elementary, which is coming to ABC, and that you'll be in, which is amazing. Your book, Diva 2.0, which is on Audible, which you can go and get.
I'm so happy about that too. You know, I did that during COVID. I started reading and the audience kept saying, you have got to put the book out there. And I presented it to Audible and they took it on so people can download Redefining Diva 2.0, the Audible book.
Absolutely. And of course, we want to just uplift again that this month, 5% of all Retrove products are going to, proceeds from Retrove products are going to Project Angel Food, which you are a trustee of. You're going to say something, so I'll let you go.
Can we talk about Retrove products, though?
I would love to. One of my favorite things.
I really want to talk about it. I'm not getting paid. They do not pay me. I am not an ambassador or anything like that. But when you get products in your bags and things like that, most of them I don't trust. I don't try because I don't put things on my face. It's very simple, soap and water, moisturizer. That's it. I don't do anything. Baby, I have grown up now. And sometimes you need more than the soap and water. And I tried this doggone line of products. That cleanser, have you tried the
Oh, I have Retrove all today.
oh my gosh, it is so good. I mean, it's like really good. And then the serum, the dark serum, I love that at night, but I love it for my face, my neck, and my décolletage. I love it to put it on like that. And I'm very happy. It's really a wonderful product. So, and I can say that freely. So that's just me.
Oh, you're in good company. I totally, absolutely agree. And such beautiful products and such products with integrity. And so just sending love. And folks, if you want some Retrove products, 5% of all proceeds this month goes to Project Angel Food, which is deeply close to our hearts, deeply close to Retrove's heart. And again, just continue to uplift the work of HIV AIDS, that continued advocacy, to celebrate Pride, to celebrate Juneteenth, to celebrate the legacy of this work, to celebrate the legacy of you, Sheryl Lee Ralph, who I am one of those children who grew up just as you, as a role model, as like the mother. And so I just thank you so much for joining us today, and such a powerful message, such a powerful moment. And just thank you for allowing us to see ourselves, to love ourselves, through you modeling your own self-love and community love. And so thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful rest of your afternoon. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And thank you, Miss Sheryl Lee Ralph.
Bye-bye, Elan.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.